It was really good because that's a memory that they always remember. And it's one of those situations like being in that environment, them walking out, being excited. They got their shades on, so it was really, really awesome.
Has Dylan Sampson done anything to surprise you through the first 3 games?
No, sir. Just because of the way he prepares, his preparation, and the way he goes attack practice. So everything is right on par in terms of what I thought he would be able to do for us.
Coach, what did you see from Peyton Lewis now that you got a little extended in-game opportunity to see him since he came back from the injury?
You got a chance to see him get comfortable in the game. I think he started off feeling his way through early on, and then the more carries he got, the more comfortable that he became. And then you got a chance to see him run with some violence and some pad level there at the end, and you got a chance to see him hit it full speed and show off his top end speed as well.
Last season, Dylan, I know you weren't here yet, but last season, Dylan scored a lot of touchdowns for the few touches he had. He's doing the same thing this year. Is there any innate quality or what is that with running backs that they get near the end zone, they're getting in?
I think that's the hunger part of it, and that you want to get in the end zone and be able to punch it in, and then also the feel of it. You know, it's like for a running back, when they get in that zone when they're running the football, whether that's the zone scheme or whatever scheme you run it, and they start to feel it, it's kind of like they're running blind. They can just feel where the holes are going to open up at. And I think he just got an innate ability to find that end zone once he gets to that point in time in the game.
Kind of like the first question you got, but about Deshaun Bishop, just has he surprised you at all, and just how much more confident do you guys feel in him getting carries in games like this than maybe you did in the fall?
I think, the number one deal with him is nothing surprises me once again with him as well because he does a really good job from his preparation standpoint, the way he goes attacks. I mean, he constantly has a notebook with him. From the time he walks into the building until the time he leaves, and he constantly taking notes throughout whatever meetings he's in. And then in practice, he just goes after it, and he does a phenomenal job of being able to attack that. And, the confidence factor, we've always had confidence, but seeing the confidence in him, you know what I'm saying, in terms of growing every single day, you can tell it by the way he answers questions. The confidence factor of him has just grown tremendously.
Coach, obviously this is your first year here, but the 2 tight end stuff has not been a big part of the offense in the past. Just how – what have you seen from that? And during the NC State game, just how big of an advantage was it, do you think, especially as the game went on?
I think it just gives you opportunity, something that, we've been working on that gives you opportunity to be multiple in what you've been able to do. And I think it just opens up a lot of other things, you know what I'm saying, for people to have to prepare for. So it's been really, really good from that standpoint.
What are you seeing from your short yardage run game? What are some things you like, and what are some things that you think you guys need to improve on?
I think the number one deal is we've done a good job of executing from that standpoint in terms of, being able to go convert when we get those opportunities. I think with everything for us as running backs, just we got to do a better job with pad level. A couple of times we get caught running too high at times and, sometimes looking to hit the big one instead of just going to convert and make sure we run it behind our pad +2.
Coach, what's impressed you most about Oklahoma's defense when you've watched them on film preparing for this game?
I think when it jumps out to you, the physicality that they play with at all 3 levels, from the D-line to the linebackers to the secondary, I think that portion of it stands out to you. They play aggressive. You see the personality of the head coach come out in terms of that defense. They want to be physical. They want to be aggressive. And schematically, they're going to be very, very sound. They're going to fit the run really, really well. And they do a really good job of making sure that they're covering things in the back end as well. So fundamentally, holistically, they're a really good defense.
You mentioned preparation, talking about Dylan and Deshaun. Do you see a trickle-down effect when it comes to preparation, when it comes to work ethic, and how important is that here early in the season?
I do. I think, number one, when you sit here and you look at Samp and the way he goes about attacking it, and he's the leader of that room, you see everybody kind of follow his lead. Even from a young guy, Peyton Lewis, coming in here. They sit beside each other in the meeting room. And when Peyton has a question, he turns and he asks Samp the question, and vice versa. When Samp sees something on tape, he's giving him pointers on that. So the preparation key, we want to make sure we're doing a really good job all through the week of making sure we're over-prepared so that now we can anticipate what's going to happen in the game.
As much as, Dylan's done earlier in his career, throughout this offseason, I guess, there were times where he missed some stuff here and there and didn't get the work he wanted to get in, and maybe the work y'all wanted him to get in. Was there any concern from your end going into the season that he would need time to to build into it, or has he hit the ground running the way you thought he would?
No, I think, the number one deal is, even with his time, you know what I'm saying, that, he had limited reps. He did a really good job of preparing himself on the sideline in terms of taking those mental reps. And I think with him, it's muscle memory. You know what I'm saying? Once he gets in there, he gets 1 carry, 2 carries, it all comes back to him, and he kind of gets in his rhythm and flow. So nothing surprises me from that standpoint. I think he's done a really good job of maximizing every single opportunity that he's got and made the most of it.
What does Dylan Sampson do or have that other running backs around the country do not have?
For me being in the room with him every day and having a chance to coach him every day, I can just speak to what he brings to the table for us. I mean, I think, number one, you see the leadership characteristics about him. Number two, you see how smart he is. He is very, very football smart and football savvy. He can pick up on a play one time, and you don't have to sit up here and repeat the same things to him. He'll come off the field and be like, Coach, this is what happened. And I always tell him, tell me the truth when you come off the field, so that now we can sit up here, we can make the right corrections. I think that, number one, is really, really good. And then I just think overall his instincts, the ability to play fast on every single thing that he's able to do. And then also in sitting here talking about pass protection, the ability to go in there and be violent in pass protection with his hands, I think that makes him, in my opinion, really, really complete.
How would you describe the chemistry between the running backs and the offensive line and tight ends blocking for those guys?
I think it's really good. When you sit there and you look at a lot of the runs that we've had, especially the explosive runs, everybody's on the same page. And I think it's like poetry in motion a little bit when the running backs, the tight ends, and the offensive line are all synced together, which you've seen multiple occasions this year. It's been really, really good. And I think they feed off one another too. The offensive linemen, when they're sitting there having big blocks, the running backs get amped up about that, and vice versa with the tight ends when they're leading up for us in certain situations. And then, when we have big plays, when we get over to the sideline after that drive, a lot of times I can't find the backs early on because they over there congratulating the tight ends and the offensive line, make sure they're doing a really good job of uplifting them. So that portion's been really good. Thank you. Appreciate it.